Arsenal's flop striker, Ian Wright slams Gyökrös after disastrous debut against Spurs. In a dramatic twist that has shaken North London to its core and ignited fierce debate across the footballing world, Arsenal's latest acquisition, striker Viktor Gyökrös, is already under intense scrutiny following a dreadful debut performance. His introduction to English football, marked by a disappointing 1-0 home defeat to arch-rivals Tottenham Hotspur at the Emirates Stadium, has prompted widespread criticism, not just from supporters but also from the club's own legends. High hopes crumble, Gyökrös arrives amid expectation. Gyökrös was brought in amid considerable fanfare. After an impressive stint at Sporting CP, where he notched up goals and assists under the tactical stewardship of Ruben Amorim, his signing was heralded as a potential game-changer. Arsenal supporters, hungry for a prolific presence up front, believed the Swedish international could finally be the answer to the club's long-standing issues in the final third. The club reportedly beat out several European contenders for his signature, parting with a significant transfer fee to secure his services. Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta was bullish about Gyökrös's potential, highlighting his physicality, work rate, and technical ability. However, all of that promise came crashing down during a tense and ultimately deflating match against Tottenham. Ian Wright's blistering verdict. One of the most vocal critics following the match was none other than Ian Wright, the Arsenal legend and respected voice in football punditry. Speaking on live television immediately after the final whistle, Wright did not hold back. "It was a disappointing performance, to say the least," Wright said, visibly frustrated. "He had a chance to prove himself on a big stage, at home, against our fiercest rivals, and he simply didn't deliver. It wasn't just the lack of goals. It was the poor movement, the hesitation, the inability to link up with his teammates. Arsenal fans deserve more than this." Wright's words struck a chord. His candid critique reflects what many Arsenal supporters were thinking but perhaps reluctant to say just one game into the season. The worry is not merely about one performance, it's about what that performance might signify. The United connection, a bullet dodged. Gyökrös's story at Arsenal becomes even more complex when viewed through the lens of what might have been. Before Arsenal made their move, Manchester United had been heavily linked with the forward, largely due to the influence of manager Ruben Amorim, who had managed Gyökrös during their time together at Sporting. At one point, United appeared poised to sign him. Amorim reportedly saw him as a player who could adapt to the intensity of the Premier League while offering a fresh dimension to United's attack. But as the transfer window progressed, United took a different direction, opting instead for alternatives that better aligned with Amorim's tactical vision. The result: United went on to win the Premier League Summer Series, a pre-season competition that pitted some of England's biggest clubs against one another in a high-profile showcase. Gyökrös, meanwhile, found himself on the losing end of one of the most emotionally charged derbies in football. Amorim's perspective: no regrets. In a recent press conference, Amorim was asked directly about the failed pursuit of Gyökrös. His response was both diplomatic and telling. "We had high hopes for Viktor," he said. "He was an important part of our success at Sporting, and I believed in his potential. That said, football at this level is about making hard choices. We evaluated several players and ultimately chose to move in another direction. I don't regret the decision." The subtext of Amorim's comments was clear. While he still respects the player, he also sees Manchester United's current squad as better off without him. That quiet confidence, paired with United's strong pre-season form, has led some fans to suggest the club made a fortunate escape. Struggles at the Emirates, more than just one player. Though Gyökrös has found himself at the center of the post-match inquest, it would be unfair to lay the entire blame for the Spurs' defeat at his feet. Arsenal's collective performance was uninspired. The midfield failed to impose itself, the defense was caught flat-footed on several occasions, and Arteta's tactical plan lacked cohesion. Nevertheless, the spotlight inevitably falls on big-money signings, especially when they play up front. Goals are the currency of confidence, and Gyökrös's inability to make an impression, even with several clear opportunities, stood out glaringly. His movement looked hesitant, his decision-making slow, and his connection with players like Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard was virtually non-existent. A public response: Gyökrös breaks his silence. In the aftermath of the match, Gyökrös took to the media to address the backlash. To his credit, he did not hide from the criticism. "It wasn't the debut I imagined," he admitted. "I'm not happy with my performance. I know I can do much better, and I take full responsibility. The Premier League is a different challenge, and I will do everything I can to improve, to earn the trust of the fans and my teammates. While his honesty was appreciated by many, words alone won't be enough to silence the doubters. What Gyökrös needs now is a series of strong performances, ideally ones that involve goals and meaningful contributions in big matches. Fan reaction, frustration turns into doubt. Football fandom can be unforgiving. Within minutes of the final whistle, social media platforms were flooded with reactions, many of them critical of Gyökrös. Threads questioning the club's transfer policy gained traction. Some fans pointed to scouting failures, while others blamed Arteta's system for failing to provide the striker with adequate service. However, a vocal minority urged patience, reminding others that players often need time to settle into new surroundings. The Premier League is, after all, a notoriously demanding competition. Yet even among the patient voices, there was an unmistakable air of concern. Recruitment in question, pundits weigh in. Gary Neville, speaking on his podcast, was particularly critical of Arsenal's transfer approach. In the modern game, you can't afford to gamble, especially in the striker position, Neville argued. There's too much at stake. If you're challenging for top 4 or the title, you need someone who can deliver from day one. Arsenal might have overreached here. They're expecting Gyökrös to be something he's not ready to be. Other pundits echoed this sentiment, suggesting that Arsenal's recruitment team may have placed too much emphasis on potential rather than proven performance at the top level. What comes next? A defining stretch ahead. Arsenal's upcoming fixtures are unlikely to offer Gyökrös much breathing room. The club faces a tough run of games that includes a resurgent Newcastle side, a difficult away trip to Villa Park, and a Champions League group stage opener against Napoli. The pressure will be immense, not only on Gyökrös, but on Arteta as well. The manager has defended his striker in public but will no doubt be demanding more behind closed doors. If results do not improve quickly, Arsenal's season could unravel before it truly begins. United march on, a study in contrast. While Arsenal faces mounting questions, Manchester United continues to build momentum. Amorim's team, shaped by precision signings and a unified tactical approach, appears ready to compete at the highest level. Their decision to pass on Gyökrös, initially viewed as a potential mistake, now looks increasingly astute. With a well-balanced attack and a midfield humming with creativity, United are already laying down a marker. The club's ability to avoid emotional or nostalgic decisions in the transfer market has set them apart, particularly from rivals like Arsenal, who seem more susceptible to hype and media pressure. Conclusion: a narrative in the making. The Viktor Gyökrös saga is still in its infancy, but it is already shaping into a cautionary tale. Whether it becomes one of redemption or regret remains to be seen. One match does not define a career, but in the high-stakes world of Premier League football, even a single game can change the trajectory of a player's season. Arsenal's supporters are not wrong to demand more. This is a club steeped in history and ambition. Gyökrös, if he is to succeed, must rise to the moment. He must prove that he belongs, not just as a squad player, but as a leader of the line for one of England's most iconic teams. As for Arsenal and the decision-makers, the coming months will offer a harsh audit of their choices. Was Gyökrös a shrewd investment or a costly miscalculation? The answer will not just impact the club's season but could also influence their approach to future transfer windows. For now, the verdict is incomplete. But the pressure is very real. And in football, pressure has a way of revealing the truth.